And welcome back to the channel, Survivors. Today we're diving back into Once Human again. What I want to talk about is actually revisit the seasonal / scenario topic. I did a video recently here basically breaking everything you need to know about the seasonal mechanic in the game, as I know there's a lot of players that are worried and have major concerns around this and losing all of their progress, and items, you name it. So if you guys haven't checked that video out, I highly recommend that you do so you get a better understanding of the seasonal mechanic system. And now since making that video, I've had a couple community members actually send me a link to a tweet that was absolutely killer by another content creator. And you probably know who they are, but that is Pirate Software. Pirate Software actually did a recent interview here with the developers and, gave all of his feedback. And I'm talking about it's honest, genuine, really good feedback. He posted a major long tweet here. We're not going to read everything, but I do want to point out some really good points, and I want to talk about them and just kind of give my perspective and what I feel, about this entire thing. So first up here, Pirate Software expresses his concerns about mandatory resets. He says that they feel bad for him as a player. He highlighted how resets in games like Diablo or Path of Exile are optional and enjoyable, but mandatory resets for new seasons just felt like a loss of progression. Pirate Software also mentions that the item drops and character levels carry significant weight and memories for players. Anything that diminishes this sense of progression can feel discouraging. Additionally, he points out how issues with itemization, noting that items in Once Human can't be repaired if you discover them in the world, that is, the crafted items can be repaired, but he's specifically talking about the items that you get as drops in the game. You can't repair those items at its current state. They don't have that functionality there. Once the durability is up, you will lose that item forever. Pirate Software states that this reduces their attachment value to players. He suggests that even if repairs were just really resource intensive to repair those specific drops, that would be better than losing the item entirely. And last but not least here, he talks about how cosmetics are another point of concern. Currently, the cosmetics in the game are tied to an individual character rather than being account-wide. And for him, this makes purchasing cosmetics less appealing since players would have to rebuy them for each new character. And this one's an interesting perspective for me because he talks about creating new characters, and from my understanding, you don't create a new character in Once Human at all. Even going into a new season or a seasonal scenario, you're actually bringing your exact same character. So when you create your character, that character, all that happens is its level gets actually changed back to level 1, and then you basically start off with like a fresh new character, but it's the exact same one. So I would assume that wouldn't these cosmetics also transfer over? Because if we go back to what the developers mentioned earlier, that the cosmetics in the game will automatically be transferred over from season to season, then I feel like that would also fall underneath this category. Therefore, your same character, even though the level drops back down to level 1 per season, would also have their cosmetics. But I don't know, that's just my take on that, and that's how I read it. Maybe I'm completely misunderstanding exactly how the system works. I don't know. If you guys know something better, let me know down below in the comment sections. And honestly, I think Pirate Software makes some very valid points and valid arguments, and I relatively agree with everything he's saying here or suggesting, to increase the gameplay experience for all of the players of Once Human. I mean, everything like the mandatory, seasonal content, like right now, currently, it's assumed that you have to opt into this seasonal content. The developers do mention that you don't have to. You could play on sort of the Eternal Land or whatever they call it, but that doesn't have anything, right? It's not like the base version of the game like it is in something like Diablo 4, right? With Diablo 4, you could choose not to do the seasons, and instead you could play on what they call the Eternal Realm, and that's literally the entire base version of the game. The only thing it's missing is any new seasonal mechanics or content that comes out, and you could still play the entire game and enjoy the game as it is without having the seasonal content. Well, Once Human, for our understanding, does not have that option. I do think there should be some more ironing out, and they should really flesh the system out to make people, or give people the option, if you will, to participate in seasonal content or not, but then yet still allow them to enjoy playing your game. And the second thing that I strongly agree with here, and that relates to the repairing of the loot that you find in the world, right? Currently in Once Human, you get, what they call blueprints, and you can get fragments of blueprints, and once you get enough, you could then learn that said blueprint of that item. And that's honestly, I would argue that that's the brunt, right? That's the brunt of, what you're going to want to discover long term, because you're going to want to be able to craft items over and over again, repair those items, utilize that, gift them, things like that. You're going to be able to want to do that. and you can only do that with the blueprints. Currently, any item that you find like in a chest or a boss drop, anything that drops as a complete item, as it states right now, you can't repair those. So once the duration of, or the durability on that item is up, because as you use items in Once Human, like a typical survival game, it has a durability window. If you found that item and you didn't craft it, or it's not from a blueprint, either you or another player, you cannot repair that item, and therefore it will just break and be gone forever. And I do agree with, Pirate Software here. That does leave a bad taste in a player's mouth, and it does also, in my opinion, significantly reduce, the value of the items that you find. Even though it could be something really, really good and really, really strong, you either A, never really want to use it as much, so you're kind of like sacreding the item and, barely getting any use out of it, treating it more like a trophy because you're afraid for that durability to go down or to bleed to zero, or you use it up and then it's gone, and in a blink of an eye, and then you don't have it anymore. So I definitely think they should add the ability to either repair the items, like Pirate Software suggested, with something like I don't know, like an insane amount of resources, or like maybe like tier 3 or 4 items only, something. They got to come up with some way that allows you to keep and retain those items, for future, gameplay, or even just to show off, or just to have in general. Because again, with a looter shooter type system and boss system, you really want to make sure that, when you get those items to drop, like in something like Borderlands is kind of what I'm thinking about here, you want it to feel good, right? And you want to feel like, yeah, dude, I achieved this thing. And I don't think that, having them just, break and be gone forever, allows for that feeling. And the last thing I want to mention and talk about as well, it relates to the character being reset to level 1 in all of your memetric system, engrams essentially that you pump into, and on top of that, even like your cradle specialization options being all reset from season to season. Now, I'm kind of on the fence with this one. Like, I do understand where like Pirate Software is coming from. I understand like the, MMO player, you're looking to invest in that character long term, right? You're looking to like min-max its class and, its specialization, and, you just really become, a professional, or like the best that you can be in that, said thing, like whatever it is. It could be a gatherer, miner, healer, could be, I don't know, a combat person, DPS, whatever it is you're trying to maximize and, your play style is. I understand that, you want to do that and carry that through season to season, and, really craft that unique, class, if you will. But I also understand, and I kind of see the vision for, Once Human, and where the developers are kind of coming from with, this fresh take, and not really being attached to what you pump into for a specific season, especially if they do plan on changing up, different mechanics in the game from season to season. If things do actually change, and let's say these cradle specialization options, obviously are going to change. They're currently right now already like an RNG system. You can only pick from the ones you currently have at the time. I think you can reset it a couple of times if you don't like your options, but you kind of have that system already set in play. And on top of that, maybe you're playing with a different group of friends, right? Or maybe that season has different mechanics that give you different bonuses. I, as a player, don't really like the idea, I guess, when you look at it that way through this lens, of being stuck with something I pumped into 5 seasons ago, right? I mean, I don't really want to, feel hindered by my past choices when, the future content of the game is changing in a different direction, and I would like to change that up. So, I don't know. I kind of like the idea of, a fresh level 1, like your same character goes to back to level 1, but then, on top of that, you get to pick and choose what engrams to pump into this time. Maybe you want to go into more farming or gardening, for instance, versus, damage or weapons or, benches or whatever you pumped into the first playthrough or the first couple of seasons. I don't know. I kind of like that idea, but again, that's just my perspective and my thoughts on it. I am interested to know what your guys' thoughts are on this, and basically all this information here. Do you guys agree with, me and Pirate Software on some of these things? Do you like the seasonal content, or strictly do you not like it at all, and you've got different perspective or, different concerns? Let me know down below in the comment section. And don't forget here, guys, if you have not checked out Pirate Software, he is a phenomenal content creator. He does a lot of stuff over on TikTok, or at least that's where I know him from. He might have a YouTube channel or, other variouses of content, but the guy is just a super cool dude, man. He's just got really positive vibes. He keeps it real on his stream. I just love a lot of his, takes, not not just for video games or the video game industry, but even like his real world takes. I mean, he's just really honest and, you know, really just a good-hearted person, and you can see that through all of his content. So just keep up the good work, dude. If you happen to see this, I highly doubt you will, but if you happen to see this, man, keep up the good work, dude, and I am absolutely supporting for, you know, you and anything that you do in the future. With that being said, though, guys, as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe here on the channel for everything survival games related. Also, don't forget that I do have a Discord community, that we have several community servers for various survival games. You can find that link down below in the description. With that being said, though, guys, as always, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you all on the next one.